Every successful organization begins with its people. At Incredible Workplaces, we help you build workplaces that inspire, engage, and endure. Recognition starts with certification. Our globally benchmarked evaluation celebrates organizations that foster engagement, inclusivity, and innovation. Certification is more than a badge. It's proof that your culture empowers people to excel. Through consulting, we partner with organizations to transform cultures, strengthen leadership, and build workplaces that adapt, innovate, and thrive. Your story deserves to be heard. With our employer branding solutions, we showcase your culture through featured videos, exclusive events, and media spotlights, ensuring you attract and retain top talent with pride. From recognition to transformation and employer branding, our services create workplaces that inspire people and elevate businesses. Are you ready to transform your workplace into a beacon of excellence? Partner with Incredible Workplaces today.
Thanks a lot, Incredible Workplace, for this recognition. Thank you.
Proud to be Incredible Workplaces.
I'm proud to share that MB Informatics has been certified as an incredible workplace.
Feeling proud to be recognized as Incredible Workplace certified.
Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome. I'm Vibha Rawat, Vice President, People at Culture at Incredible Workplaces, and it's a pleasure to host today's session as a part of our webinar live series, Voices That Lead. A few weeks ago, we hosted a session on new labor laws, and the response was extremely encouraging. We received many requests for a follow-up session from the participants seeking clarity and the real-world interpretation of the new labor codes. Based on this request, we organized today's follow-up session, focused entirely on addressing your questions and helping you navigate these changes with confidence. Today, we are joined by two highly experienced practitioners who bring deep domain knowledge and a strong on-ground experience. And these faces are not new to you if you have joined our previous session. But those who are joining us for the first time, let me take an opportunity to introduce them. It is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Gaurav Chaturvedi. Gaurav brings 26 years of rich experience with deep exposure to labor law audits, performance management, learning, competency development, and industry relations. He has supported organizations through change and is well regarded for mentoring HR leaders across the industries. We are honored to have you with us today, Gaurav.
Thank you so much, Vibhaji, and thanks all who have joined. Thank you again for bringing us to this platform. It was wonderful last time, and I'm pretty sure this evening will also be good.
Thank you, Gaurav. Joining us next is our second speaker, Mr. Ravinder Singh. With over 29 years of experience in strategic HR, payroll operation, compliance, and HR process automation, Ravinder brings strong practical expertise in labor law and payroll governance. He is widely respected for his ability to simplify complex compliance topics to HR professional, and that's the reason he's here with us to support us today. We are privileged to have you with us today, Ravinder.
Yeah, good evening, Vibha. Thank you so much for this, organizing the session again. Looking forward to contribute and make our counterparts more aware on this critical task. Let's learn together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And this has been one of the most demanded session I would ever say that, we have a group where we have HR professionals and who not, and there is ongoing continuous discussion. People are sharing the best practices, coming up to support each other. And I love that about the community that, there is an urge to help and share as much knowledge as one could. And that's why we are here to support. Everyone is in this journey, and so are Gaurav and Ravinder with us today. So without doing any delay here, I would start with the questions, and I'll also encourage guests to please put your questions in the chat box. Today's session is all about addressing the questions and queries you have. We are not going to take you through any presentation or talk anything else, but totally and completely addressing the questions that you have in your mind and the situations that you're facing in day-to-day work, right? So that is what we are going to do. So we'll start with the questions that we have received, and I'll also pick up questions from the chat box as well. All right. Can we have first question, madam? Okay. Gauravji, maybe start with you. And the first question is implementation of the new labor codes mandatory? And what are the expected timelines for reinforcement?
All right. Good evening to all once again. The question is pretty simple. I thought the first would be bouncer. It's a simple question. Is implementation of the new labor code mandatory? Yes, it is. Yes, without doubt. See, 2019, the labor codes came into being, and you would see certain labor codes came in 2019 and others in 2020. So all these 4 labor codes came in being in 2019 and 2020, followed by various rules, meaning rules given by the central government and many state governments. In the last presentation, we have shown various states out of 36 states, 30 came out with rules also. Now, 21st November happens to be an important date because these labor codes were notified. So, if we see into the enforcement, 21st November is the date when they are enforced. But see, when any act is implemented on ground, it is to be supported by rules. So, the rules, the central rules as well as the state rules, all the rules which were given in 2019 or 2020 and following subsequent years will not hold any value, because after 21st November, when the act was notified, the central government as well as the state government would be coming up with new draft rules. Why new draft rules? Because the old rules, meaning the new rules also you will find similar, but there has been a time gap of almost 4-5 years. So new rules will come into being and they will be notified by the central government and state government. The operational or implementation part would happen accordingly. However, I will again say the enforcement date will still be 21st November 2025. I hope that answers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gaurav. And what in case people are not able to implement as of now? What is going to happen in that case?
So see, as I said, that's a smart one, because that shows the applicability and the implementation. If doesn't happen with effect from 31st November, what are the implications on the employer? Because most of the HR professionals will be worried about their employers, their MDs, their CEOs and the promoters. They must be asking these questions. See, operationally, unless the rules are given by different authorities, you would have, I think, most of the HR professionals who have joined this webinar must have seen certain notifications coming from ESIC department. And Gujarat ESIC ROs, Maharashtra ROs, there came certain notifications, certain communications from them, and suddenly they were withdrawn. So that is why I would say some certain basic aspects like definition of wages, which will not require any further notification, should be implemented. However, ESIC or minimum wages or gig workers, mechanism for gig workers, we'll have to wait for those rules to come. So in case we do not implement right away, it will have lesser impact in terms of penalties, but we should be ready with it. As soon as the rules are given by different authorities, we should then implement. I would also add here, just after implementation or notification of these acts after 21st November, a statement of Labor Secretary also came, and she said that whatever I already told, that these acts will be followed by certain rules, and will be then they will give us mandatory time of 45 days for suggestions and any objections that the public at large or employer want to raise, and thereafter the notification of implementation of the rules would come. It will take 3-4 months time. So effectively they are eyeing a date of 1st of April 2026 for effective implementation of these acts as well as rules.
I have a question from Ravinder Rawat, and maybe Ravinder can answer to Ravinder. Is ECI coverage on basic pay applicable or not?
Is ESI coverage on basic pay is applicable or not? So ESI basically, where we talk about wages now. So wages will be qualifying for ESI, PF, even gratuity, bonus, leave encashment. Everywhere the single definition will prevail. So for ESI coverage also, we need to take the basic salary and excluding HRA and other conveyance A to I excluded components, you can exclude them. Remaining will fall as under the wages. So ESI will be covered on that. Will be applicable on that.
Sure. My next follow-up question to you is from Nitin. And Nitin asks that, do you feel timeline of 2 working days for a payment of full and final settlement feasible, even for government organizations?
So I should let me take the privilege here. So under the new labor code, they are more talking about the payment of wages, not the full and final settlement. This is the corporate jargon which we commonly use. When I was in HR for last, I also spent 25 years in the corporate side, so I know that the pain. So sometimes we stick to that nomenclature, but actually they in this labor code they are talking that if a person resigned or terminated or died, his wages should be paid within 2 days time. Remaining things like even the gratuity, there is no change in the gratuity payment. It is still saying that it has to be paid within 30 days time. So likewise gratuity, there are other components if that required to be paid with the next payroll cycle, you can pay that. But other than those things, wages should be paid within 2 days time. That is also always workable.
Great. And I think, Nitin, that answers your question. And there is where many HR professionals are feeling a challenge that how do I complete full and final settlement in 2 days? But it is that you have to clear the wage and rest can be done in the time, of course, right? One more question related to exit. When it comes to involuntary exit, right, wherein an organization is asking an employee to leave because of XYZ reasons, and that person is very close to completing the gratuity, maybe 4 years or 6 months, is the person eligible to get the gratuity in that case, and how will it happen as per new labor laws?
So, meaning specifically answering this particular question, if there is a non-voluntary or involuntary termination or exit that is happening, so the gratuity, there is no change in that. So, Gratuity Act says somebody has to complete 5 continuous year, and the definition of year is 240 days. So, somebody has meaning completed 4 years and let's say 230 days. Including the notice period or whatever period. So somebody who has been asked to go, and if the notice period is attached or joint with the period he has already served, and it accumulates to 240 days in the 4th year, yes, he will be eligible for gratuity. Otherwise, voluntary or involuntary, the 240 days eligibility criteria remains same. There is no change in that.
Sure. Thank you for answering that. And I have a question from Shobha, and she asks, can you please define what all will be covered in wages and excluded?
Okay. So there are 9 exclusions, meaning there are 11 exclusions per se, but there are 9 exclusions which are on monthly basis. So in the last presentation, we had shown that if I look into the primary components which are excluded, that is HRA, conveyance, statutory bonus, then there is any special allowance, not the special allowance that we generally give, but any special allowance to defray certain special expenses that will be excluded. So there are 9 components which are excluded. Otherwise, anything that we are giving in cash, apart from these 9 exclusions, will be calculated in the definition of wages. So the definition of wages says wages, meaning basic, DA, retaining allowance. Retaining allowance I discussed in the last webinar also. So it is not applicable to everybody. So apart from these 3, apart from 9, meaning these 3 are wages themselves, but 9 exclusions, anything in 9 exclusions, other than 9 exclusion, anything, for example, special allowance, professional allowance, whatever name we can say, will be added back to the wages. So it is simple. Leave aside 9 exclusions, everything else is wages.
Sure.
I hope I answered that.
Yeah. I have a question from Sudhir, and he asked that is the 50% pay, basic pay will be part of basic wages to implement?
See, it is other way around. As we have been talking about, it is about the exclusions. Exclusions should be less than 50%. Rest is wages. So, meaning ultimately your basic wages will be more than 50% if there are no components, no other components, then your basic will be 50% or more, even more. It can be even more than 50%. But our focus should be on exclusions. Our exclusions should be less than 50%. And if it is that way, so I'll just give an example. Let's say your basic wage is 30% of the total gross salary. Your exclusions are 50% or even less, and rest of the amount you have put it in special allowance. So the calculation of wages will be your basic wage plus special allowance. Okay, considering that all the exclusions are less than 50%, then your basic and special will add up to make wages. The wages as defined in labor codes.
There is a follow-up question on the same.
Yeah.
There's a follow-up question on the same, that is 50% basic applicable for higher CTC employees, or there is a ceiling CTC amount?
Thankfully, there is no ceiling. Meaning, when I am saying thankfully, meaning lesser the bifurcations, lesser the grading, and lesser confusion for the HR fraternity. So yes, there is a single definition of wages across for workers, for employees, everybody, higher CTC, lower CTC, meaning everybody, the definition remains the same. There's no bifurcation, there's no grading as such, the CTC quantum is concerned.
Sure, thank you. And Ravinder, you were saying something, and there is one more question related to this, that issues of wages are restructured now in light of ESIC. We need to track any actions from authorities.
That's an important point, actually. See, while we are tweaking these structures, we need to understand the implications. We should not do anything which is lawfully, just evading the certain, benefits. The idea is this, to review your current structure, observe what all the exclusions are there in your current compensation structure, and see how you can keep it at par with the provisions of new labor codes. So the more we keep this structure simple and straight, this will help the organization in the longer run. The entire exercise of implementing this new labor code is just to increase the retirement benefits of employees. saving the employees' social welfare benefits. So we have to structure our components in a way that is compliant with the labor codes.
And I'll add here, I think I know where Jitendra is coming from, that if just looking at the labor code's definition of the wages, if we make changes in our this compensation structure, just to avoid ESIC for that matter, or avoid PF, there is no change, hardly any change. So see, whatever rules and regulation that the government has formulated, if we are following those rules and regulations, no inspector, no statutory authorities can question you. For example, in income tax, the limit was raised to 12 lakh. Now, some company decides a CTC or the gross salary of a person to 11 lakh 99,000, there will be no tax. And no IT officer can say, just to save tax, you have kept the CTC or the gross salary as 11.99. Yes, I have kept. I have kept it because you have made the rule that way. So if we are following the exclusions, as Ravinder ji was saying, if they are following the definition of exclusions and basic wages plus DA plus retaining allowance, no officer can say anything. And if some officer says anything, you can come back to us. We will handle them.
All right, that's great. Now, this question is from Dr. Durgadas, and he's asking about major changes of compliance in new labor code in the service sector, MFI, NBFC sector, like how they are going to be impacted.
Changes.
Okay. So specifically industry-wise, I think there's hardly any changes. I saw a few questions around IT industry, NBFC, or for that matter, I would say industry-specific changes. I would not suggest any changes or labor code talks about any particular industry per se. However, the changes which have happened in the labor codes might impact one industry versus another industry in different manners. So I think NBFC, I see a few organizations, NBFC organizations, which I deal with, they are impacted by, they would be impacted by minimum wages. So yes, there will be cost and escalation there. There can be changes in earned leave accumulation, or there can be changes in gratuity. If they are taking somebody on fixed term contract, then there can be changes in gratuity specifically. But again, I would say per se NBFC or for that any industry, there is no specific changes industry wise. They are the changes which are throughout industries and on different labor acts uniformly.
Thank you for asking that. And I have one interesting question from Aravindo, and he says, can we implement wage code from April 2026?
Yes, you can. But I would say it with a rider. See, there are several financial impacts which are going to happen because of these labor codes. For example, ESIC. Very live example is of ESIC, wherein we have seen that different regional offices giving different notification and then withdrawing them, and things are happening in that manner. So the best way is to handle this, that okay, we can implement it from April 2026, provided all the rules and regulation as set by Labor Secretary are in place. But because of these labor change in the wages definition, whatever impacts are happening, please create a reserve around it. So think that this is implemented with effect from 21st November. So accordingly, whatever financial impact is there, please create a reserve for that. For example, if there is an additional impact of rupees 2 lakh. So per year, per month 2 lakh, create a reserve so that if in April the date comes for implementation in April, those 6 or 8 lakhs is a proper saving for the organization. But if it is post facto from 21st November, for the example, then that reserve can be utilized and there will be no impact on the organization per se, and your management will also be happy because you already create a reserve for that.
Sure, thank you. Next question for Ravi.
Ravindra wants to add? Yeah.
See, we would always say that you have to holistically review your employment contracts, your employment categories, then your compensation structures, your policies. Then you will derive certain, impacting areas like PF, ESI, bonus, gratuity, leave encashment. So then you have a visibility how much it is going to impact in case this is implemented right from the 21st November or let's say 1st of December in it. So you know what is the liability in the light of ESIC notification where they have declared that we should wait for the regulations and rules which is to be announced by the central government. So we can take a precautionary measure here to keep this open. But however, internally we should know what is the implication in terms of financials. Number one. Number two, what all policies needs to be changed, what all contracts needs to be modified according to the new labor codes. So those things we can start working on it and keep a provision that sooner the government announce these rules framework, we implement it immediately. So it is more like readiness to adapt these changes.
Thanks, Ravinder, for highlighting that, how important it is that we should be ready for any change. Next question is for you, Ravinder, and Pramila asked that, is the variable pay or performance-linked incentive part of wages?
All right. So if I say yes, it is part of the wages because in the exclusions, they have categorically mentioned all the any bonus which is part of the existing law. So that is excluded. But they have also mentioned that if it is not part of the employment, if it is terms of employment, I would say yes. If it is part of the employment terms, then it will fall back in the wages category. So what we are communicating to the employee, if we are communicating about certain percentage linked to your performance or some retention bonus, if we are giving in writing, those will definitely fall back in the wages. In simple words, I would say, apart from your excluded allowance, HRA, overtime, bonus, commission, right? Yeah, incentive, right? So apart from these excluded A to I, all things whichever we are paying, they will treat it as wages.
Sure. One more question regarding to this is, and Vidnesh says that I need to understand that leave encashment, if it is unavailed, what is the provision being made in the wage code? How is that going to be treated?
So under the Vignesh Mishraji, so basically in the new labor codes they have mentioned leave encashment. They have given a limit of accumulation up to 30 days uniformly implemented. Now beyond 30 days they are also given a provision that has to be encashed. So here we need to basically understand the implication, like leave encashment beyond 30 days, if it is exceeding the limit, I am eligible to get that payment from my employer.
Follow-up question on this. Is leave encashment a mandate by the statutory law, or if organization does not cover or comply for leave encashment, how would it be treated? Because at times there are many organizations, if they exceed, they just lapse those leaves. So how do we treat that?
Okay, so I would answer that question. See, till now, there is no law. Just before labor codes, I'm talking about before labor codes, there was no law to encash leave during the employment. At the time of exit or at the time of superannuation, the leave encashment was mandatory, but during the employment there were accumulation limits, and these accumulation limits were different. In some of the states it is 30, some 45, even 60 in some other states. I think one or two states, but 30 or 45 is barely I see limits in accumulation limits in different states. Now beyond somebody accumulates 45 leave, if the limit is 45 and accumulates 45, so beyond 45 it is the prerogative of the organization that it could have lapsed the leaves beyond 45. But now in labor codes there is a provision of what they have done is they have said that the accumulation limit is 30, or the state can define more than 30 they can define, but less than 30 they cannot. So 30 is the limit, and beyond that now it will be encashable. During the employment also it will be encashable. So there is a change in the law which was not there before.
Thank you, Gauravji, for providing that clarity. I think that's new for many of us to know, and it's a compliance, so organization needs to follow that. All right. Mayank says that we got the news that country will be divided into 5 zones after floor wages by center. How true it is, and whether states would be combined into zones?
Yes. So Mayank ji, we see a lot of Mishras coming in questionnaires. That's nice to see. Okay. So yes, in the Act code itself, it is written, yes, it will be divided into different zones, 4 or 5. They have not mentioned the number. Although the country will be divided into different zones, and accordingly the national floor wages will be given for that particular zone. Within that zone, there would be states falling, and all the states falling in a particular zone will have to comply the rules and regulation or the minimum wages or the national floor wage. We are saying, so there is a little bit of contradiction here. We are saying national floor wage, and at the same time we are talking about the zones also. So national floor wage for that particular zone, all the states falling under it will be governed by that. Okay, and it is true that the nation will be divided into different zones. Number of zones, we are not sure because it is not given in the labor codes as such.
Yeah, actually, in the current system also, center has three zones. Zone A or B or C, and they have categorized it. Zone A in the state capitals, Zone B in the premium cities, and Zone C is the rest of the cities. Probably that similar thought the government will bring in while declaring the national floor wages, and so that we can logically divide those minimum wage rates according to that particular area and to match the cost of living standards.
Sure. Thank you for providing clarity on this. Bhavendra asked that, will a year gratuity eligibility as per new code be applicable to all employees now?
No, it will not. Bad news, because I have been hearing it for all, meaning the day 21st November these acts came into being. A lot of people talking about ab to hamara gratuity banega, because even if I do not work for 5 years, I will get the gratuity. No. It is a misconception given all around. So the change in the time limit for gratuity eligibility is only for fixed term employees, and it is not for regular employees. There is no change in the eligibility criteria for regular or permanent employees. It is just for fixed term employees.
Okay. Great. All right. I think everybody is enjoying this session. You are getting clarity on the questions and confusions that we had around new labor code. And before I proceed ahead, I have a request. You see a QR code on the screen. If you can please scan it and put a Google review of how you are liking this session, this will be greatly helpful for us. It will encourage us to bring more clarities and more such sessions to you in the future also. So I'll take a pause for a second, and maybe you can scan it and put some Google review for us. Okay, meanwhile you are doing, I'll put the next question on the screen, which is again related to gratuity. And Abhilasha asked that in case the exit is before gratuity and other components kick in, how is this to be handled?
So, so in case the person, in case the exit is before gratuity and other components, like we need to understand, that's why I've insisted we need to identify type of employment categories we have in our organization, number one, so that we know and on what basis we have hired the person with certain terms. If my term is for a specific end date, then the person should be eligible for gratuity on proportionate basis. If the person is hired without an end date in the employment contract, then the person will be eligible only after 5 years of continuous service. And for each year of continuous service, there is a provision which is defined under Section 2A of the Gratuity Act, which says that 240 days for the organization which works 6 days a week, or 190 days which are less than 6 days a week. So accordingly, the person completes 1 year of service.
I think I would need better clarity on the question which Abhilasha actually asked. So if Abhilasha can reformulate the question, because she says in case of exit is before gratuity and other components kicking. So we didn't get what is trying to ask. So maybe Abhilasha, if she is hearing us, can reformulate the question, please.
We'll answer it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we can take another question.
Yeah. Do the retaining allowance applies to all?
No, it is only for seasonal industries. Vijay, in the last webinar, we discussed in detail about this retaining allowance. So retaining allowance is an allowance given to a particular set of employees who are working in a seasonal industry. I took the example of sugarcane industry last time, that in sugarcane industry, people work for 6-7 months only, and rest period is not seasonal, so there's no work. There's hardly any work of maintenance which is happening in the factory. So for those 4-5 months when the people are not working full time and they are going back taking up other assignments, so during that 4-5 months, to retain and ensure the fact that these employees come back when the season comes back, an amount is given to those employees that is called retaining allowance, and it is governed by the wage board, wage board for that example. So different states have different boards, or different seasonal industries have different wage boards, and these wage boards will decide the quantum of that retaining allowance. So it is not for all, it is only for seasonal industries.
Great, thank you for providing that clarity. Radhakrishnan asked that recent new labor codes, EPF deduction on actual salaries 50% is compulsory.
Please. Okay, so as of now, there is no change in the EPF ceiling. That ceiling still prevails 15,000 as the qualifying criteria for EPF contribution. Once there is some changes or uniformity declared by the government, which is also expected maybe with the new rules or maybe later, but then this will we have to refer to the new ceiling. As of now, the EPF deduction or contribution shall be the base of on the basis of 15,000 only, and beyond that, it is a voluntary decision to be taken by the employee and employer both. It is a consented right contribution.
We have same question around ESI contribution on basic salary. Is it effective from December 25 or maybe later in 2026?
रविंद्र जी, मैं यहाँ एक क्लैरिफिकेशन देना चाहूँगा। अभी ESI में अभी 18th of December को जॉइंट डायरेक्टर रेवेन्यू से ही आया है। We should wait for the further rules and regulation to be notified by government. So as Gaurav ji was mentioning, while analyzing and understanding the implication for our internal employees, we should have a visibility the cost implication. However, we should wait till the time there are rules or regulation notified, or even the ESI come back and notify certain guidelines on it. So you can wait till further notification comes in from any authorities.
But create a reserve around it.
Yes, the reserve, yes, you must know, and that volume of financial implication should be updated to the higher management just to keep them aware of what is going around.
Sure. I think we should be ready for all the changes that are coming up also. Okay, I have an interesting question from Arvindo again. He says, ex gratia is not falling under the 9 exclusions. There is no such term in the definition. So will the ex gratia be included in calculation of wages?
Yes. Meaning he has answered the question himself. The question is very smartly written down. So, Arvindo, yes, ex gratia will be part of the wages because it is not included in any exclusions that the government has given for wages definition. So, yes, it will be part of the wages. It will be added back to the wages. Yeah.
And for better clarity, I think, can you tell us what are those 9 exclusions? And Dinesh asks the same question.
I'll read out for you all.
Yes.
Or if it is A is any bonus payable under any law for the time being in force, like the Payment of Bonus Act, which
Ravinder,
line I was referring for addressing the incentive related matters. So here the code very clearly says any bonus payable under any law, but does not form part of the remuneration payable under the terms of employment. Second exclusion is the value of any house accommodation, supply of light, water, medical attendant, etc. Any amenities that will fall back in exclusion. This is B. C says any contribution paid by the employer to any pension or provident fund, right? And the interest which may have accrued thereon. So they have categorically confined their selection only towards the PF and pension contribution by the employer, but not the ESI contribution or the labor welfare fund kind of other contribution which employer has to contribute for towards the compliance of respective law. Fourth exclusion talks about any conveyance allowance or the value of any traveling concession. Fifth exclusion says any sum paid to the employed person to defray special expenses. Here the special expenses, like if someone is working under the ground is working at very extreme climate situation, so certain allowances like hardship allowance or some night allowance related, those special expenses, that amount is paid by the organization according to the nature of his employment. Say point F says house rent allowance, right? G point is A to I we are coming. So third last is remuneration payable under any award or settlement between the parties, like the factories, there are certain, amount
LTS.
is settled under the long-term settlement between the union and the management. So those things will also be part of the exclusion. H says any overtime allowance, which is again a nature based or need based, not the fixed component. I last component says any commission payable to the employee. So they have specifically written commission. They have not said incentive or any variable thing. So that's how A to I: bonus, value of house accommodation, PF, ESI pension contribution, conveyance, special defray expense allowances, house rent allowance, or any settlement between the union and management, overtime, and last is the commission. These all A to I are excluded. And apart from this, if you pay any allowance, any amount to the employee, that will be deemed to be part of wages.
Thank you, Ravinder. I think that was well said, and I think everybody has a clarity of what are those 9 exclusions. All right, I have next question from Raja, and he asked that gratuity is part of CTC or it should be on top of CTC. How to get it in
Yes.
the
So
structure?
this is interesting actually. We have been brought up like with the CTC concept for the last, I believe, 30 years or more. Right. So gratuity, yes, if you want to communicate to the employee, you can showing that whatever expenses are incurred or the cost is being incurred for that one particular employee, you can showcase those things. But CTC, we should calculate the entire salary in the or I would say the distribution of wages and excluded allowance should be based on gross salary, whatever directly earned by the employee on a monthly basis. So gratuity, yeah, you want
Yeah,
to say?
yeah. So Raja, I would add to what Ravinder said that we have been brought up in for last 25, 30 years with the concept of CTC. See, CTC, as I have always maintained, that CTC is a corporate term. It is not a statutory term. In the entire labor codes which we have gone through, there is no mention of CTC. It's a pure corporate term. Now, should it be part of the gratuity should be part of the CTC, or should it be on the top of it? As an employee, as a compliance consultant, I always say that it should be in addition to the CTC. But if we strictly talk about the law, see, there is no mention of CTC, so it is a choice. It has been a choice with the corporate for 25, 30 years. We are saying because we have been in industry for 25, 30 years, but it has been since industry came into being or the Gratuity Act came into being. It is many organizations take it as part of the CTC, many organizations take it as the top of it. So you can continue to have that choice because there's no regulation around CTC.
Thank you, Gaurav. And as important as your CTC is to you, so important is your Google review for us. So I would like to remind you of the QR that you see on the screen. Please take out your phone. It will just take a few seconds, scan it, and put a Google review for us. All right, I'll move forward. I have a question from Chandrasekhar, and he asked that what about the reimbursement part of the CTC, like car, fuels, and other flexi component? I think we have asked, but quickly, if you want to add something to this.
Okay, so reimbursement is what? Reimbursement is an expense that the employer reimburses. So some expense that employee has already incurred, the employer is reimbursing that expenses. So that's getting my money back. It is not part of the wages. Should not be part of the CTC also.
So the important piece here is anything which is paid by the employer subject to production of bill, that is not part of the wages.
It can be part of the CTCG, and as CTC is, I already said, is it's not a statutory term. So maybe, so see, historically, these kind of reimbursement which Chandrasekhar is wants to emphasize here are the expenses to defray the income tax. So I get 1 lakh rupees as my gross salary, and 10,000 I get maybe some reimbursement of my mobile expenses, reimbursement of my car fuel expenses, or for that matter, any other reimbursement. So I get that 10,000. That 10,000 is neither part of my wages nor part of my income. So it will be part of the CTC, but it is the reimbursement of my expenses that I have done for the organization. So it can be part of CTC, but it is not part of wages. It is the thing will remain same as it was.
Sure. Dipti asks that my current CTC consists of basic plus FPB, which together account for about 84% of my total compensation. Under the new labor codes, where the fixed wage component should not be less than 50% of the total compensation, do I need to restructure my salary to ensure compliance?
So, all right. So actually here restructuring is something which cannot be decided over such a conference or webinar. That basically you need to understand the compensation
So
after closely
yeah.
observing its flow, whether it is aligned with the law or not, and that's how you can tweak, but within the permissible limits, as well as you should have a standard policy within your organization. It should not be that you do some manipulation with the system, with the structure. So you have to be careful, stay compliant with the law of land. In terms of specifically, I would say you should not do something just to avoid some provision of law.
Okay.
So that requires a careful assessment.
So I'll add in the question of Diti is, should I make my this compensation restructure it? Yes, you will have to do it. As Ravindra ji was telling, that you have to again refer back to the wages definition, and again we would say still the understanding is, should I the component should not be less than 50%. Fixed wages component should not be less than 50%. No, it is other way around. Your exclusions should not be less than 50%, meaning it more than 50%. So ultimately, your basic salary, basic other component. That is why we have been re-emphasizing it. Your basic plus all components other than the exclusion should not be less than 50%. So it is not about basic salary, it is about the basic plus any component other than your exclusion should be. And the question which you asked, that would you be required to restructure it? Yes, you will be required to restructure it.
I hope that answers your question, Dipti. And I have another questions from Namita. She says that, can we switch to PF applicable only on 50,000 now? At present, we pay PF on actual basic salary.
The straight answer is yes. So there are certain case laws around it, and the Supreme Court has categorically said that PF department cannot enforce any contribution over and above statutory limit. So now you're giving it on actual basic. Maybe 1 lakh is somebody's basic, and he is giving 12,000 one side, so 24,000 is the contract. He wants to switch to 3,600, can be done. There is no technical hitch in doing that. Maybe if because
somehow I think there is a technical issue at Gaurav Sen. Ravinder, do you want to add? I think we are not able to hear Gaurav. Ravinder, you are not audible. Yeah, it's fine now.
I think now will be audible.
Yes, you are very much audible.
Okay. I was saying straight away the answer is yes, you can do that, and there are case laws around it. If even if there are any questions from the PF department, you can straight away say no. Yes, we want to do it. We want to go back to the statutory limit. There is no legal hassle in this.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add on. So anything beyond the statutory limit is a voluntary, and especially in PF, we have to take the consent from both end, right? Being the employer and employee, both parties, they should be consented to whether going beyond the limit or up to the limit. So we should do any employment related changes with prior consent. That we should follow that practice in our day to day thing. And additional thing I would like to caution Namita ji, we since the rules are likely to come, so we have some apprehension also. Probably they may come up to bring that uniformity in the wage ceiling also in the PF and ESIC. So in ESI, the current ceiling is 21,000. In the bonus, 21,000. PF, they are still following 15. So they may come up to bring at par, whether by increasing the limit from 15 to 25 for all, or maybe 30. I cannot assume here, and it would not be right. But of course, we can wait to take such decisions till the time there are some clarity by way of rules coming in. This is my submission.
Thank you, Ravinder. I think I have a question from Rabia, and she seeks clarity on gratuity. Her question is, as per new rule now, gratuity period will be...
Question screen is not visible.
Yeah. As per the new rule, gratuity period will be...
Okay.
Can you see?
Now it is okay. Yeah.
Sure.
As per the new rule, gratuity period will be 1 year instead of 5 years. I already answered this question. For a permanent or regular employee, it will not be. The eligibility limit has not been changed. Only there is a change in case of fixed term employees. Fixed term employees, yes, it will be paid prorated. However, for a regular and permanent employee, the eligibility remains the same as 5 years of continuous service, and where year means 240 days. 240 days for an organization working for 6 days, and any organization working less than 6 days is 190 days. That would mean 1 year. So the eligibility remains same.
Sure. I have a question from Bhushi, and he asks that central government floor wages, when we can expect any hint on minimum floor wage?
$1 million question. So we are expecting, meaning if we follow the Labor Secretary's statement, we are expecting everything to formalize by 1st of April. So maybe we can expect it from 1st of April, national floor wage coming by that time. Although I see many states already giving a change in the minimum wages. I saw a few notifications coming here and there in last week, 10 days. So still the minimum wages which central government and state governments have given as per their domain, or where they are the appropriate government, they have already given. But national floor wage, we should wait for 3-4 months. My expected date is 1st April 2026.
Thank you. All right. I have one question for up now. He says that since working hours in the construction industries are not fixed as of now, especially for office-based employees, clarification is required that how government will verify in and out timings. Is it compulsory to maintain some registers for in and out physical times, or some punch-ins for them to comply for 48 hours week in a week?
Yeah. So one part of the question I am little worried to know that what Apna is saying, that since working hours in the construction industry are not fixed as of now, especially for office-based employees. No, they are fixed. 8 hours, that is already fixed. Now, in practice, it can be that instead of 8 hours, somebody is working for 10 hours, 12 hours.
But we have lost the voice right now.
Implementation has happened, and because of it the organization is getting away with it. However, still the rule is 8 hours. Going forward, they have allowed it for 12 hours, keeping the weekly hours limit at 48 hours as a static, meaning as it is. There is no change in weekly. As far as the registers and attendance register, manual or digital, you have got a choice. You can go. Most of the industries are not have gone to digital, but still, if you want to keep, because of the kind of industry you are in, although we work for a construction industry also, people have already implemented digital or biometric way of doing attendance. How you can continue doing digital as well as attendance, manual attendance, or any which ways that is allowed. The change has happened only in the total number of hours per day. Weekly, there is no change, and currently it is 8 hours, meaning before labor codes, it was 8 hours per day.
Thank you. Punima asks that in my salary structure, we have basic education allowance, medical allowance, and special allowance. From which allowance is the ESIC amount deducted?
It will be applicable for all the allowances. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Am I audible? Okay. So it will be applicable for all, the components which has been shown by Purnima ji. Basic education, medical, and special. If you are paying, I would reiterate the Supreme Court judgment wherein there was clearly mentioned any allowance which is paid ordinarily, uniformly, and regularly is a wage. So similarly, since these allowances have not been mentioned in the exclusion list A to I, they are deemed to be part of wages. Then ESI, bonus, everything will be applicable on all these components.
Ravinath, I have next question from Srinath, and he asked that in case of establishment register under shops and establishment, which provision needs to follow on leave encashment? Is it OSH, shop, and EST?
Ravindra, you want to answer?
Yeah. Okay. See, in the OSHX, they have taken the definition of industrial establishment. Right. And while consolidating, there were 19 laws they have consolidated under OSH, or not 19, 13.
13 of them,
right?
yes.
13 laws they have consolidated in one, that is OSH WC. So we were, just discussing around it. The Shops and Establishment Act has not been mentioned in any of these 4 laws. Likewise, Professional Tax Act, Labor Welfare Fund Act. These are the states-driven acts, laws. So we presume that as of now, the Shops and Establishment Act has not been included in this specifically. So state-wise leaves rules should be continue as it is till the time there are certain amendments or these Shops and Establishment Acts are repealed and specified in the OSH Act. Otherwise, 30 days annual accumulation limit as per the OSH, and beyond 30 days exceeded limit, whatever leaves are there, that has to be encashed by the employer. Gauravji, you want to add?
Okay, so I think the question which, meaning the worry which he has, is he going to addressed to the Shops and Establishment Act of that particular state he is in, or OSH Act. The confusion is there, but my assumption says that by 1st of April you will have uniformity around it, and most of the states which have got different number of leaves or accumulation limits will apply the same as in OSH Act. If it doesn't happen, you will have to follow your SND Act in the state you are in, unless it is repealed. It has not been repealed. They have not been taken into part of these codes as of now.
Thank you, Gauravji. And one question on PF rule. Is it same existing rule contribution on 15K or 1800 max, or it has been affected by current new labor code?
No, there is no change in PF rules as of now. As I told in the last webinars, I see a lot of questions coming from the last webinars also. So there's a continuation on this. So see, there is no change, and the wages definition which has come in new labor code is very near to the definition of wages given in the PF Act. So there's no impact as far as the PF contribution is concerned. The statutory limit remains to be as 15,000. So the contribution limit is 1,800. You can go beyond it, but nobody can force you beyond 1,800.
Thank you. All right. There is a question from Yunus, and he needs some clarity on performance-based variable pay. And he says that, to his knowledge, only fixed regular employment linked payment qualify as remunerations. Performance-linked variable pay is contingent and incentive-based, and therefore sits outside the remuneration unless it is a disguised fixed allowance. So is there any clarity you want to share on this?
Okay, so see, in a way your assumption is right, but see, at the time of defining of wages, it is said that anything and everything that employer is paying, variable or meaning not only the fixed, even the variable part. If you see the first exclusion wherein the Ravinder has read, it says that any bonus payable under law for the time being in force which does not form part of the remuneration payable under the terms of employment. So the variable pay you are talking about is part of the terms of employment. So it is not that the variable pay one fine day employer raises from his sleep and says that I am going to pay 50,000 bucks to you. No, it is part of terms of your employment. So it will not be part of your exclusion, and it will be added back to the wages only. It may be like it is paid once in a year or twice in a year, but in my understanding, in our understanding, it will be part of the wages, despite the fact it is variable and linked to the performance.
And this is based on the definition which has been given in the, if we derive this thought, this is purely based on the definition given in the code on wages. So they have categorically excluded this thing. Any bonus, any amount which you are paying as part of your employment terms, that will be wage.
Sure. Thank you for clarifying that. And Vijay asks that, can statutory bonus pay every month along with salary? How can they proceed with it?
You can pay it. See, paying it is fine. You can pay it, and why you pay on monthly basis? There was a ruling, meaning we could have paid it, and before labor codes also there were instances that many organizations were paying it on monthly basis. The only implication was there were two implications inside. One is that ESIC was deposited on monthly bonus, statutory bonus, and secondly, why people were paying monthly bonus on the basis of it, because they want to get away from the annual liability, and there are more churning in that organization, so that they want to get away from their annual liability and pay it on monthly basis. But if we see the act itself, the bonus act, it says the basis of the profitability of the organization, the quantum of the statutory bonus is decided.
Correct.
Okay, so now you're paying it monthly. I would still say you can pay it monthly basis, but then the basic idea of making that statutory bonus gets lost, because you pay it, let's say 8.33%, and at the end of the day when your balance sheet is formalized, it says you have to pay 15%, 18%, 20%, then you have paid bonus less, or somebody left in between. Are you going to pay the rest amount of the bonus which is payable to him who has exited your system 6 months back? So maybe technically the answer is yes, but I would not suggest to pay it on monthly basis. Let the bonus, meaning the profitability of the organization, settle in, decide, make a form A and form B for the organization, and on the basis of that, it is decided what is the percentage of the bonus which is payable, actually payable, and then pay. There is a 8 months gap you get after the closure of your financial book of that particular financial year. So pay it on an annual basis. But again, the answer to your question, can statutory bonus be paid on monthly basis? Yes, it can be paid.
Thank you for clarifying that. And Vijay, I hope that answers your question. Coming back to Namita's question on gratuity, she has rephrased it and is seeking clarity on this. She says that we take employees on contract, FTE, and then convert to pay. I think many organizations does that. So this is an important thing to understand. So in that case, do they need to pay gratuity to contractual employees before converting to payroll, or how is it going to happen?
Okay. So contractual employees being taken on the roll. Okay. So in that case, meaning if I understand it correctly, that initially you take the person through contractor for a year as a fixed term employment, and thereafter, let's say you take 100 employees on contract or on a fixed term employment, and after you assess, you pick up 25, 30, 50, 70, whatever number you pick up, and take them on your own payroll. Then the 1 year fixed term contract that you have given it through a contractor, yes, they will be eligible for gratuity for that period. After they get a permanent employment with your organization, then they can, their cycle of gratuity will start from date of joining in your organization. But before that, if it's a fixed term employment, either through contractor or even without contractor, it's a direct contract also, it's a fixed term direct contract. In that case also, gratuity shall be payable for that period.
Thank you, Gauravji. And on the same question, there is a question from Sushil, and he asked that does the contractor worker already working, does not have an appointment letter, will be eligible for gratuity?
So, see, if the contractual employee who does not have a appointment letter, it's a non-compliant in itself, because every employee has to get an appointment letter. So meaning not having an appointment letter doesn't disqualify any person from gratuity eligibility. So now, will he be eligible for? So the question is that if somebody doesn't have an appointment letter, he will not be eligible for gratuity? No. See, appointment letter, yes or no, will not, because it will not have any impact on deciding the eligibility for gratuity, because the employment is either written or implied. In this case, the employment is implied. It is not written because you are not given the appointment letter, but it is implied. Now the question is, if the employment is fixed term, yes, he will be eligible for gratuity. If it is not fixed term, he will follow the 5 years rule. It is as simple as that. But Sushil, I would suggest you please ask your contractors to give appointment letter and ensure as a principal employer, they should be given appointment letter.
Also, they should be issued the pay slips also, monthly pay slips with their UN, PAN, bank account, everything should be displayed on it. Now, since the DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act is in place, so we should hide some, like an Aadhaar, they used a masked Aadhaar. Similarly, we should hide some digits, but must ensure the PAN, Aadhaar, and PAN, bank account, and the date of joining related information there itself in the pay slips.
Yeah, I think
So
these are.
added input, not the rest.
No, I think this is very important that these are compliance issues otherwise. I have another questions from Shala, and she asked that are the expats working with us will be considered as fixed term employees?
Oh,
So
the
if-
smartest question that I had in this webinar. Yes. See, Gratuity Act talks about employees. The definition of employee is there. There's no bifurcation as such in terms of nationality. So somebody from other nationality, if he has got a fixed term employment contract with your organization, yes, despite and in spite of the fact that his nationality is something other than India, will be eligible for gratuity. So there is no bifurcation in terms of nationality in Gratuity Act, and the Labor Code has taken that part of the Gratuity Act as it is. There is no change there.
The question was, in fact, little I could understand. She was asking about the expats working with us will be considered at fixed term. Yes, if you have issued the contract with end date, then they are fixed term. If you have issued the contract without any end date in it, they will be treated as other employee, permanent employees. But visa has to be there in place. So that FRRO process you have to ensure.
Thank you, Ravinder. And who says HR job is easy? There are so many compliance. Wages are so critical and so complex. Those people should come and lean into this conversation and understand that HR job is never an easy job. Thank
It's
you.
not easy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm moving on to the next question from Rajesh Acharya, and he asks that will PF pension contribution be considered as a part of wage as mentioned in the new code of wages?
No, they have excluded it. In the exclusion A to I, they have categorically mentioned as any contribution paid towards pension, provident fund, that will be treated as excluded allowance.
So is it part of the total wages? So no.
It is the wages is done in the total. If I clarify again, so wages means all remuneration by way of salaries, allowances, and otherwise, and it includes basic dearness allowance and retaining allowance. So this is wages. And if I say all remuneration, so we have divided it into two parts, rather three, I would say. Wages has the another part up to 15% wages in kind. Then excluded allowance or excluded wages A to I, bonus, HRE, conveyance, commission, overtime, related those things. So this pension and PF contribution will not be part of wages, it will be excluded allowance.
Yes. Right.
Thank you.
Hope
Other
I
question?
made clear, Ji.
I have another question from Flight Lieutenant Aradhana Dubey. She's an ex-engineer force. Jai Hind, ma'am. She asked that gratuity settlement. She asked that gratuity settlement takes up to 30 days, and this is also allowed. Can we take a little more time for assessed settlement while we clear the salaries and state payments in 2 days?
Okay, as per the current laws, should I read? Gratuity settlement takes 30 days, and this is also allowed. Similarly, can we take little more time to assist settlement. Okay. So, ma'am, as far as the current labor code is concerned, no. We have to do it within 2 days. Gratuity, yes, you can do it 30 days. But wages and leave encashment, things like that, you will have to do it within 2 days. As of now, the qualifier there is that the labor code, it is written, it should be done in 2 days or any timeline that the appropriate government says. So maybe in coming days, because as HR professionals, as employers are making a lot of noise around it, so the state specific government, specific state or maybe central rules when they come, they may give us more time as a breather. But as of now, strictly talking about the labor code which has been enacted, it is 2 days, but we can hope for a better timeline in coming days before 1st of April.
So one more thing I would also add on, madam. We can, last time also I insisted, we should put the responsibility of clearance on the employees. Let us not take the HR every responsibility on the settlement part. Individual employee should be held responsible to ensure that the person gives you complete set of clearance after obtaining no dues from all the respective sections, specifically finance, wherein the recovery things comes in picture. So once everything is clear and the person has already handed over the assets also, then you are free to settle it within 2 days time. It won't take much time of yours. So let the employee be responsible for this exit process. You can put it in your HR policy also, separation policy.
I think gives you clarity, Ratna. Moving on to the next question, which is around annual health checkup. Arvind asked that if you can elaborate on mandatory annual health checkup provision along with its applicability on types of establishment and frequency.
The frequency is annual. So as given in your question itself, it's annual. And the types of organization, it is establishment, it is applicable to all types of establishment. So in factories, it was already there. In factories, there is a provision of medical health checkup on annual basis. However, with the provision of this, all commercial establishment acts, meaning establishment covered under commercial establishment acts of different states, will also be covered under it. So now, practically speaking, all commercial organizations, establishment or factories or manufacturing setups or warehouses, all will be covered under this. And you will have to do a medical checkup on annual basis, and you will have to keep the record of it, so that in case there is any inspection that happens for your organization, you can show the records. And what all medical tests to be incorporated, we will have to wait for rules to be published, and thereafter we can be able to tell that what all tests are mandatory to be included on such medical examination or medical test.
I hope Arvind it clarifies. And again, on the insurance thing, I have a question from Manish, and he asked that is there any cap on minimum insurance coverage for health, term, and accidental insurance?
There's no limit because they are not mandatory as such as of now. During the corona period, there was a notification which was asking organization to go for medical insurance. That at that time also there was no coverage limit. But as of today's law, whatever laws that we have around labor laws, all three insurances, health insurance, term insurance, accidental insurance, these are over and above. So as employers, good HR professional, they propagate these kind of insurances, and it is good for the organization industry itself. There is no limit as of now because they are not mandatory. Only ESIC and PF they are mandatory, but not. And of course, you might have heard the Employee Compensation Act. So there is an Employment Compensation Act which is mandatory. However, there is no mention of insurance. You can take an insurance around that, but it is not mandatory again. So there is no cap on the three type of insurance that you have mentioned: health, term, and accidental, as of now.
Thank you, Gaurav. And we are very close to closing our webinar. But looking at the questions we have and looking at the schedule of Gaurav and Ravinder, it's difficult to bring them again. I will therefore take an exception and, go beyond our timeline to cover a few more questions. I hope, Gaurav and Ravinder, that's okay with you. Can we extend the
Yeah,
session for some time
we'll
more?
be glad to address that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think there are a lot of questions still remaining when it comes to PF, gratuity, and I'll be picking up those questions. I think we have asked this. Okay. Raja Shekhar asked that if we are calculating ESI on gross salary, then the changes in the wage codes will have any impact?
Yes. Now you can exclude the HRA and convenience part of it. So let's say somebody's ESIC you are paying on the total. I'll just taking an example. If somebody's gross salary currently is 20,000 and 5,000 is the HRA part. So till now you have been paying gratuity on 20,000. Now you will be paying gratuity. Sorry, not gratuity. ESIC on 15,000 instead of 20,000. So yes, the ESIC contribution will be reduced in that particular case.
Okay. And Naresh asked that if the gratuity amount mentioned in the CTC breakup, then should the company pay in FNF settlement even if employee has not completed 4 years and 8 months?
Okay, 4 years and 240 days. I will not say 8 months. See, again, the same old question of CTC. Now, it will depend on how you have written it in your appointment letter. If you have mentioned it as part of your CTC breakup, and you have not given a qualifier that it will not be or it will be paid as per the Gratuity Act, then I must say that it should be paid, even if somebody has not completed 4 years and 240 days. But I would not say unethical, but there's a practice in industry wherein it is considered that gratuity will be part of your CTC, but will only be paid when you complete 5 years. You need to give a qualifier in your appointment letter, make a part of your appointment letter that it will only be paid as per the Gratuity Act. But if it is not there, then it can be contested and person can demand the gratuity because it was part of terms of employment and part of CTC.
Okay. I think there is a need of brief on commissions. Can you please share some light on this component of commissions?
So commission normally, the sales-driven organizations selling their products, like salesmen, so they get some commission. So this is precisely taken from there. Like even for insurance companies, they give some commission to their agents while they sell the policies. So this precisely has been taken from that particular perspective, because in government sectors, incentives or variable pay, performance bonus, this is not so commonly used. However, the commission is being commonly used in insurance and sales driven organizations selling their products. So precisely that I could make out the commission has been taken from there.
There's one more question from Arvindo, and he says that if company has provided accommodation and in turn it deducts an amount towards the same, so how to calculate the wages?
So the accommodation they have kept in the amenities, accommodation, medical attendant, supply of electricity, that particular thing they have kept outside the wage definition as excluded. So this will not impact your wage. However, you have to ensure that amount of excluded allowances should not be more than 50%.
Okay, so I'll add here. Now, if some company has given you accommodation and in exclusions there is a provision of value of the accommodation or a value of any facility that has company has given can be excluded, can be part of excluded. Now, very technically speaking, some company has given you a home which has a market rental value of, let's say, 10,000, and the company is deducting only 2,000 as a subsidized rent from you, then 8,000 should be added back to the wages. Meaning that will be exclusion. So that you need to see if it is the deduction which is happening. If the deduction is happening as per the market rate, then it is not part of the wages, because they have given you one accommodation, and for that the same amount is being deducted. Then it is not part of the wages, and it is not part of the exclusion. But if there's a difference, or it is subsidized which has been given, then there's a value attached to it.
Thank you. Anand asked that in my organization, leave period is January to December. So leave encashment, excess 30 leaves to be paid with December salary or can be paid later?
So your organization is in the correct frame, because for all leave provisions, the calendar year should be taken care. It is not the financial year, it is the calendar year. So your organization in the right frame. So as far as if somebody exceeds 30 days, yes, it should be given in the December month salary, but maybe for the ease of calculation, you can do it with January salary also. There's no non-compliance around it. If you do it in January's salary, it will be considered as compliant. But beyond that, it will be non-compliant.
Sure, thank you. And we are going to move forward with a few more questions. But to stay tuned of what we are doing at Incredible Workplaces, and for such upcoming workshops and webinars, I would request you to please follow Incredible Workplaces on LinkedIn or any social media handle. We are present everywhere. So do follow so that you are updated and informed of what we are doing in this space. Moving on to the next question. Somebody asked, I couldn't see the name. They says that whatever changes that we are talking about in new labor code, is there any chance that it is going to be changed somewhere? Any rule can get changed?
So theoretically, yes, because the way rules are notified, the manner is that the state government, the appropriate government for that matter, state government or central government, comes out with rules. They give a draft rule, publish it to the public, and public is allowed to give suggestions or raise objection around it. And there are instances that there are changes because of the response which government gets. So yes, there are chances, but it is theoretical. I do not see any major change coming, but yes, there can be changes. The process is like that.
Sure. Next question is from Raj, and he asked that from which date and month 50% basic is effective in CTC?
21st November 2025. Act came on that particular date, but that is why I have been suggesting in the last webinar also said, and different discussions which I do, I always say that all offer letters that you are rolling out post 21st November, you should get the new wages definition in that offer letter. For the existing ones, you can wait for other notifications, rules to come, rules to formalize. So maybe 1st of April you can wait. But for all uh, offer letters that you are rolling out now, I would suggest they should follow the wage definition of 21st November.
Harijit
onward.
says that components in which 50% wage rule is applicable. I think we have already answered it. In case you have missed, please watch the recording again. We'll share the recording and it will be available on LinkedIn as well. Next question is from Radhakrishna, and he asks, EPF case, we cannot reduce the wages. Section 12 EPF Act is telling.
Yes. If we have, I'm so happy, rather, that you came out with the section of, but at the same time, Supreme Court gave a mandate, or meaning Honorable Supreme Court said that EPF department cannot enforce any contribution below the beyond the statutory limit. So yes, we cannot make it lesser than what was being contributed, but we can always do it up over and above the statutory limit. But beyond that, below that, we cannot. Let's say somebody's basic salary was 12,000. Next month, you say, now we are reducing your basic salary. Now it will be 10,000, and your contribution will not go on 12,000. It will go on 10,000. It is prohibited by Section 12. But if somebody's basic salary is 18,000, and he says now, meaning it, we will not be doing it on actual, and we will now be doing it, restricting it to 15,000. Yes, it can be done. It has been clearly given by Supreme Court. So yes, you're right. I'm so happy you brought this section in discussion.
Great. I have another question, that due to ESI inclusion, CTC restructuring, if the net take home decreases for the employees, can the organization go ahead with the new structure?
Yeah.
See, I would suggest here the employees' take home should not be impacted. The organization should try to protect that, because it is the individual, it is not the individual choice, it is the enforced by law. So employer has to comply with that. Restructuring has not been recommended by law. So anything which is coming as a as an impact due to the labor laws, change in the labor laws, so organization have two choices: either to keep enforce it as it is and let the individual and employer bear the cost on at their end, or organization as a gesture can protect the individual take home by taking that contribution, employee contribution also on that, protecting that net take home of the employee. That is the nutshell. So it is a choice basically.
Sure. Moving on to the next question. Srinath asks that gratuity is applicable to contract labor who is employed through an agency. Are they eligible for it?
It is. It is applicable because law doesn't discriminate between the employees type, right? Whether the person is on contract or permanent rules, or even now fixed term rules, the gratuity has to be paid for the such employees, subject to fulfillment of that continuous service law provision.
Mayank asked that variable or performance pay paid monthly or quarterly or annually are a part of employment contract. Do you suggest that we create a policy around it and not mention in the salary structure while issuing the offer letter or employment contract?
Smart.
No. Your policy is also part of the contract only. No, it is not that you have not see, the contract between employee and employer is between two parties, but the policy that is for the entire organization is also being part of the employment contract only. You cannot say, meaning otherwise in that manner everybody will give a appointment letter saying that you will get a salary of 25,000, rest 75,000 or 2 lakh or 15 lakh we will give you quarterly, and everybody will agree to it, and the part of the wages will be much lesser. So no, you cannot, meaning it is infringement of or misuse of the law, and you cannot get away with making the wages, meaning the variable part of the making them wages. You cannot get away giving on quarterly basis or biannual meaning twice in a year or yearly basis. They will meaning implied to be part of your employment contract only.
Thank you for
I would
answering. And
suggest Vishwaji to take our services. We are doing the complete restructuring, and that package we will do the complete assessment of your existing contracts, policies, everything, and probably we can give you better suggestions on it, because it is something which is very critical. And I will suggest him, please be careful while doing any tweaking with the existing policies or contracts. Please.
Mayank, you already have Gaurav and Ravinder to make your job easy. Please contact. All right. This is interesting question, and Manish asked that if my organization has a corporate office in Maharashtra and for any other who have their corporate office in another state and having a plant in other states, and they are doing all PF and ESI compliance in Maharashtra, which state rules we have to follow?
Okay, so PF is a central act, ESIC is a central act. PF, you can do it for entire India sitting from any office. So your office HO is in Maharashtra, you are doing PF compliance for Pan India employees, perfectly fine. ESIC, again, you will have to take a main code at the time, HO. And for rest of the locations, wherever your employees are covered under ESIC, you have to take subcode. As far as other labor laws are concerned, for any organization, meaning unit of your factory or any S&D unit that you have in any state, the state rules will be applicable. In whatever state your organization's factories or any offices, the state rules will be applicable there. So it is not about PF and ESIC compliance that you are doing in Maharashtra. Let's say you have a factory in UP, then factory rules of UP will be applicable, not the rules of Maharashtra, because you have HO in Maharashtra. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. And Bhushi has a question that in construction industry and in many industries, I would say, there are workers who work temporarily and in a very short period of time. So he's asking, should appointment letter be issued to them?
Yes, it should be, unless it is of casual nature. In casual nature, appointment letter will not be required, but for any contractual employees or even temporary worker, you have to give appointment letter. I would suggest to have a appointment letter format, and appointment letter format can be just leaving the name and the address part vacant, which can be filled in, and you can give that appointment letter. But yes, even for temporary employees, appointment letter is mandatory.
And he follow-ups with a question that after 5 years without link to profitability bonus and be paid, is it correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It is written in the law, in the Payment of Bonus Act. Now, see, we are referring to the existing acts as on date. The Payment of Bonus Act 1965, it is still in force. The moment it is repealed, the code on wages will prevail. However, as on date, it is applicable. Similarly, in the last question, Gauravji was mentioning about the PF ESI. Someone asked about Maharashtra. So as on date, we have to follow these PF ESI. The moment these are repealed, then we have to follow the code on Social Security.
And he asked that how can we send a request to government to extend FNF time to 7 days?
Facebook करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं नहीं, they will come out with draft rules, and they will give email IDs, phone numbers, wherein we can reach out, we can give our suggestions, or we can raise our
Yes,
objections.
that's
At that platform you should come.
Yeah.
More and more people should come with suggestion, and ask government to rethink about it.
Yes, that's a valid point. I was just kidding. But yes, when the state comes for with the new version of rules or central government, that time we have the opportunity to raise our objections or give our suggestion. We should do that.
We have a question from a different industry. It says that is educational institute or trust comes under the new labor code wages definition, minimum wages act.
Yeah, so many labor laws are, I think similar question came in the last webinar also. Many labor laws are applicable, although the educational institutes and universities, colleges are governed by their own rules of UGC and CBSC and NCERT. So they will be governed by those rules, but there are labor laws like minimum wages, payment of wages. I think bonus is not applicable there. So there are rules and regulations of few labor laws which are applicable, but others will be governed by UGC, CBSE, and CRT.
Thank you. Priyanka asked that, does the new code mention about payment to absconding cases? Where employees do not explain anything and they just vanish.
The people who left the organization without prior information.
Yes.
Okay. See, any for such cases, unless there is a clearance process is happened, we follow that procedure of giving the due opportunities to be heard as per principle of natural justice, and the termination is happened. Before that, you cannot make the payment, and once the termination is happened, we should pay the payment within 2 days time. So that means you have enough time to get entire clearance done and arrive at a situation wherein you can decide whatever payable or recoverable from that employee, and you can make the payment, balance payment to the person, and recover the rest of the things, including the notice period.
Thank you. Is there any book or author that you would want to recommend, Gaurav and Ravinder, to the audience?
You have not written as such, but we will definitely write a book on it, practical instances. And as of now, Mr. H.L. Kumar, he has written a number of good books in addressing all these practical challenges in the corporates. So you can certainly go for the H.L. Kumar's books on practical challenges.
Quickly, we have next question from Anjali Sachdeva, and she asks that, wanted to check on annual medical checkup. Is it limited to blue collar or it covers all the employees?
It covers all the employees of 40 years plus, not restricted to blue collar.
Sure. Mr. Durgadas asked that, is it applicable for all the employees of the organization or only 4 categories of labor as per minimum wage and state center government?
4 categories of labors. So I think he is having a different question, but we can say like,
no,
the law is applicable for all.
It is applicable to all. I think is it applicable? So the it is not is very not very clear what he is asking. Is it applicable to all employees of the organization? Yes, it is applicable to all employees. So there are certain aspects of these 4 codes which are applicable to only workers, and there are certain instances where it is applicable to all employees. So definition of employees and workers, it is different. As we last time said, that the worker is the subset of the definition of employees. So yes, of course, there are few aspects of labor codes which are applicable only to workers, and there are many which are applicable to all employees.
Kriti asked that working hours also include lunch break, or how do they define it?
Uh, it there see labor codes. They say yes, it is included, but in S&E Acts, there are few states which has specifically said only working hours. Meaning, if in the previous state codes, state acts, 8 hours plus 13 minutes you could do, or 1 hour you could do. So you can ask your employees to come for 9 hours, give a break of 1 hour, and actual working hour is 8 hours. But in labor codes, they have said including the break time. So the 12 hours time that they have given, it will include the lunch break or other tea break or other breaks that you give. It will include.
Sure. I have a question from Ravinder again, and he says, as per new labor, can we have amendment in standing order or follow existing standing order?
So it is, I'll take this question, and because Ravinder has been asking Ravinder, and Ravinder has been answering Ravinder's question, I would like to answer this question. So, if you have existing standing order, yes, there would be certain amendments that you require to do, because there have been changes in labor laws. Terms of employment would change. So, yes, amendment would be required, but I would suggest not to rush the process. Wait for the rules to come in place. If your organization is already having a standing order, you are compliant, let the rules come. And if the rule says and your organization then falls under the standing order, because maybe you took standing order because you had 100 workers, but now the limit has been increased to 300, and your organization is not falling under standing order. But if your organization falls under standing order, then you need to go for amendments as per the new act. So maybe there would be certain changes which you would be required to do.
Sure, thank you. And for anybody who has not joined the WhatsApp group for the discussion on new labor codes, Manan has shared a link to join that WhatsApp group. So you can just click on the link and part of the group to ask any questions, or if you have any knowledge around new labor codes, you can share it there. We have our speakers, Ravinder and Gaurav, in part of that group as well. Very quickly, because we are way beyond the time, I'll try to answer it. All the question, I'll ask my speakers to be very quick on these ones. Priyanka asked that my question was meant when she was talking about absconding cases. She meant that if an employee works for say 7 days and leaves the organization without serving the notice period, should payment of 7 days be put on hold, or is it organization liable to pay? I think it's liable to pay.
Okay, so no. I'll make Priyanka's life a little easier. So say somebody joins your organization, and if I understand it correctly, he has worked only for 7 days. Okay, now the notice period for let's say he joins your organization, the appointment letter has been signed by both the parties, and the notice period, even in probation period, is 15 days. I would suggest ask for that employee to pay 7 days or 8 days rather. Pay it back to organization. He will not be liable, because see, he has worked for 7 days and absconded thereafter, and the notice period is 15 days. He is liable to pay back to organization for 8 days instead of organization paying it for 7 days, because he will not be absolved of the responsibility of serving the notice of 15 days. So Priyanka, your life is easier now.
And I think for compliance perspective, Gaurav, these has to be proceeded in the same way, right? If somebody is not serving the complete notice period, a notice should go to from the employer side to the employee, whether they are responding, not responding, whatever the case is, right?
Yeah. So see, I said it as in this case, 8 days can be recovered, but you have to follow the process. There is a process of abscondment. You have to give one notice, first notice, second notice, and then in the third notice, you can terminate the services as well as demand for the notice period. But if you do not go through the entire process, then the onus comes back to the employer.
Moving on to the last question, Manish says that I'm having a CTC. I'll put it on the screen. Am I covered under WSIC?
I didn't get WSIC.
Workman
Manish,
compensation. No.
Manish, if you can put it on the chat till the time I'll move to the next question. Okay, he says, Manish says that Factory Act prescribes annual health checkup to all employees, whether health checkup in code will cover override or we have to cover as per Factories Acts or codes.
Codes. See, codes will repeal Factory Act. So ultimately, labor codes will be applicable. Factory Act is part and parcel of the labor code only. So all the rules and regulation which were there in Factories Act will be repealed, and labor code will be in implementation or will prevail.
Okay.
Acha,
Okay,
ESIC, he wants to say ESIC, 4,20,000. So see, CTC 4,20,000 doesn't, meaning it cannot be said that you will be covered under ESIC or you will not be covered under ESIC. We'll have to check the your salary structure, and accordingly we can say that are you covered under ESIC or not. With a salary of 4,20,000 per annum, you can be or cannot be, meaning if we formalize the structure in a way, then you will have to consult Gaurav and Ravinder as consultant. We'll ensure whatever way you want to make it. You want to get covered under ESIC, we'll make that structure. You want to get away from ESIC, we can make that structure, kind of structure.
So that is the basically we will do the structuring as per the compliance provisions.
Yes.
yeah. And for some seconds, due to a typo, we were just figuring out, is there new labor law? All right, I'll take one more question. I think we have to end the session after this, but yeah, I think this also needs a clarity. If a gross salary is 15,000 or less than 15,000, then PF should deduct on all components up to, you see this.
15,000 salary head, basic HRA. No, you can exclude HRA, and I think rest conveyance. You can exclude HRA as well as conveyance, and rest of the components PF will be deducted.
Sure. Very quickly, he says that my question was that this code is applicable for management staffs also, or for workers only who come under Minimum Wages Act?
Durga ji, your management staff will also be covered under the definition of employees as per the new labor codes. So yes, they will also be covered under new labor codes.
Thank you. With that, we are going to complete 2 hours straight into this webinar. And we have got real fans for Ravinder ji and Gaurav ji. And they said that please write a book. So you are going to be an author very soon.
Thank you, Arvind ji. Thank you for your all consideration and wishes. We really appreciate.
And I think I get a lot of messages here, and people are appreciating Gaurav ji, Ravinder, and me for moderating the session. So thank you, everybody. I tried to cover as many questions I could, and I hope you find them insightful. You could clear a lot of doubts that you have in your mind. As I said, Manas has shared a link to join a WhatsApp group in case you haven't joined it. Please join it. If you have any questions, ask, and follow us on LinkedIn so that you're updated of what we are doing in this space. Also, I just wanted to talk about Incredible Workplaces. We are into workplace certification. Who doesn't like recognition after all, right? So your organization of doing this hard work, HR people doing such a hard work for organization, I think it's time for your organization to get that applaud and recognition. So apply for Incredible Workplaces certification. If you have any query, you want more details, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you there. And I think with this, we are going to move towards the end of our session. And I want to do it for more hours, but of course we have a time constraint and our speakers are also having some more commitments. So as we come close for today's session, I really want to thank you, Mr. Gaurav and Mr. Ravinder. I think whatever you shared
Thank you, madam. Thank you,
completely
everyone.
completely our pleasure. I think we have got valuable insights, real-time implementation of these new labor codes, and this is much needed clarity that all of us needed. And thank you to all the participants. Your thoughtful questions, your participation in this was so engaging that we exceeded with half an hour. So 2 hours straight into a webinar is not a joke. So thank you for being there, asking wonderful questions. And as we head into the weekend and get closer to welcoming the new year, we hope that you take this time to relax after all the changes in the new labor law and reflect and recharge yourself. And I wish that may the coming year bring a lot of clarity, growth, and success to both to all of you professionally as well as personally. So as a part of our commitment to our community, this is going to be an ongoing through Voices That Lead series. We are going to bring such leaders, such speakers for you, wherein they are going to share some real-time insights with you. So keep following us and stay tuned for the next one. And once again, thank you so very much, and wishing you all a wonderful weekend and a very, very happy new year. Take care.
Thank you. Same to you, all of you.